Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is a pain you can't truly explain until you've endured it? Losing your child to suicide, heartbreak. Even enduring it, words fail. My grandmother was in her 80s and my uncle, who was always sick, was in his 60s. She was still devastated. Losing a child, regardless of their age or your age, is devastating. You're not supposed to bury your child, it's not the natural order of things. I've lost some uncles and cousins, and it destroyed their parents. My son started vocalizing at 7 that he thinks about how he wishes he was dead. It sends icy terror down my veins, doing everything within my power to help him. My 8-year came to us about this last year. I had unfortunately been half anticipating this at some point, because in a moment of high stress I'd asked if he had thoughts of hurting himself or others. He did, himself, and around the same time he was saying things like, "No one likes me," and, "I don't have a life worth living," so we were already frantically looking for therapists. But the first time he used the word suicide, nothing could prepare me for that. I don't know how I held it together for him, because I was a fucking mess. Depression. It's leagues different from just being sad. You can never really explain the feeling to someone who's never experienced it. Or the desperate, aching, helpless feeling inside begging for it to stop. And the persistent tiny voice in your brain, constantly telling you not to bother, one every different way possible. Don't get out of bed, you suck, you will just mess up. Don't bother having a shower, you're not going anywhere, no one likes you. Don't bother doing the dishes, nobody cares and there will be more. Don't bother doing any form of self-care, you aren't worth it. You know how good it would feel not to wake up tomorrow. Your brain is lying to you from the minute you are conscious, and yet, we fight on. Back pain. It's all fun and games until you fuck your back up. I slipped a disc in my back working out at 27 and didn't realize how bad it was until I legitimately could not move an inch when I woke up in bed the next morning. I've never been so terrified that I'd never experience normal again. It definitely sent me spiraling and gave me a deep appreciation for my ability to walk. It fucks up so many aspects of your life you hadn't considered too. I slipped a disc and had sciatica at 27, and I went from being proud of my patience when dealing with people to a constant yelling in my head of, "Hurry the fuck up with this conversation so I can go lay down." The death of a spouse. I'm a few months away from this. It's been 4 years now since a stage 4 diagnosis, and it's coming down to the end. There are no more options. I'm dreading it. It's a lot of work, but I find it effortless as I'm so much in love with them. I understand. My husband had a stroke 15 years ago and he slowly slipped away. TBH, there was definitely some relief when he passed and he was no longer in pain. Of course, that relief coexists with a tremendous amount of grief. I wish you the best in these final days. Please don't leave anything unsaid. I'm on the other side of this. 3 years since my stage 4 diagnosis with a prognosis of a couple of months. The knowledge that my partner will watch me die and then has to go on without me is my biggest heartbreak. We love each other so very much. I've dealt with nerve pain, peripheral neuropathy, and bone cancer, but this pain is the worst of all. I'm so sorry you're going through that too. I'm just over 3 years out, and so far I've managed to box up my husband's clothes last year but couldn't bring myself to take them downstairs. This year near the holidays I brought the boxes downstairs, where they all still sit in my living room. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes another year or two for me to move them to the garage and from there to Goodwill. The tidal waves of grief are coming much less frequently, but when they do I still feel like I'm choking and drowning. My dad passed when I was 13, and my neighbor made us all quilts out of his clothes. Now my babies use it and it's like a hug from the grandpa they never met heart. It's a beautiful way to remember someone by. The idea of losing my own spouse, who also happens to be 15 years older and cancer runs in his family, is a depressing ongoing fear felt so deeply within me that I already mourn him and cry over the very thought of it. Pre-grief preparations, I suppose. That's pretty common, especially if your spouse has an extended illness like mine did. It's called anticipatory grief, I think. I get these feelings over my parents. The thought of losing them makes my chest tighten and I start to feel like my world is ending. Full-blown, kill me, migraines. Had one, I lost the ability to read and recognize faces. Went to thinking stroke. Nope, just a really bad migraine. Looking for this one. Been to the a few times with a migraine and they just don't understand. Had a nurse tell me to manage my pain better at home. I don't go in anymore, just ride it out at home in the dark, wondering if this will be the time my eyeball explodes out of its socket. Hate it when people say, "Oh yeah, I get headaches too, lol." My brother is one of the rare people who have never experienced any sort of headache before. It makes me want to scream when he asks if it really hurts that badly. Loudly crying. Sciatic nerve pain. I'm 28 years old, had lower back pain for years now, but this is next level pain. I ended up in the this January and couldn't physically move without excruciating pain. I'm 50 now and started having serious back pain around your age. A few surgeries and some pound of titanium later and I deal with sciatic pain and other back pain every single day. Let me be your canary in the coal mine, start stretching and exercising your back regularly. This is no way to live. Finding out you've been truly betrayed by a lover, friend. It's really gutting and destabilizing. Destabilizing almost describes it. The sheer depth of loneliness coupled with the realization that everything you knew was wrong. All in an instant. Then comes the rage. And humiliating. Nerve pain. I contemplated cutting off my arm because I didn't know how to make it stop. Also unmedicated childbirth wasn't my plan, but the baby came way too fast. Didn't even know there was a fetal ejection reflex. Giving birth to your twins, knowing they won't survive, 21 to 22 weeks old. That wheelchair ride out of the hospital with 2 boxes of handprints instead of babies will forever replay in my head. I am so sorry, so incredibly sorry. Thank you. They blessed me with 2 more babies after we lost them and they had 2 older siblings already. We keep their memory alive, red heart. Losing a child. My sister died at 2. My father has never recovered nor has he ever really spoken about it. He opened up to me once and he said, I cannot even remember my daughter. The last thing I seen of her was the paramedics putting tallow papers in her eyes to see if her pupils would dilate, then they made me follow them to the morgue to identify her. His brain can't recall his baby because he is only filled with trauma from her last moments. So now to cope he pretends she doesn't exist. He has been waiting to die for years because in his words, if I am a kind enough man I'll get to heaven and see my daughter again. I don't know how he lived his life dealing with this. I watched my dad write my brother's obituary when he died in his 40s. It has absolutely destroyed my mother. Now I'm losing both of them to age and memory loss. When my oldest brother died, I woke up to the sound of the most blood-curdling, sorrowful, hopeless wails from my mom, a sound I never ever want to hear again. She was never the same since, but I know she tried to hold it together for us kids as best she could. He had just turned 18 years old 2 weeks before. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. He was just starting out in life. He didn't even get to graduate high school yet. I'm 10 years older than he was when he died, but he will always be my big brother. My older brother died 5 years ago, and when I made the age he was when he died, and then one more day, meaning I was now older than he ever was. It was weird. Sad but also just weird, because how am I older than my older brother? I'm the baby. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. We've lost 2 toddlers, almost 10 years apart. Our youngest and oldest. Both medical reasons. It's impossible to describe to someone, anyone. Especially since both losses feel so different. My son died of a fentanyl OD. He was 49, homeless, under a bridge. I am full on crying now even 2 years later. I remember a camping trip when he was 12. Can't type no more. Gallstones. It really is indescribable. My gallbladder pain was worse than labor. I think it's because you never knew when the pain was going to end with gallstones. 100% would take unmedicated labor over gallstone attacks any day. My attacks lasted for hours, and even after it was over I would be sore for several hours after. I landed in the with gallstones. When they told me the gallbladder needed to be removed, I was like, great, let's go now. That pain is no joke. I had the surgery about a month after that visit and was afraid to eat during that time because I didn't want to trigger another flare-up. Closing parenthesis. Chronic pain with no hope of relief. Yeah, I'd rather experience severe kidney stone pain again once per month for the rest of my life than keep living with chronic pain and other chronic disabilities. Just to be able to look forward to a few weeks where I can recharge and live my life would be magical. Constant pain drains every bit of energy out of you. Not to mention the effect it has on every single aspect of your life, family, partners, friendships, career, finances, and the utter lack of understanding you experience from the people, and even doctors, around you. My parents taught me to ignore my physical problems and needs, so when I got older and screwed up my knee it didn't feel like the end of the world. Like I can deal with this. Yesterday I did a ton of running errands and heavy housework. But it's like I've got a parasite slowly sucking the life out of me. I ignore it and go about my life, but the pain absolutely takes something from me. The only thing that has helped at all was when the physical therapist lubed up a plunger and used it to gently lift my kneecap. Instant relief so powerful I cried, like I hadn't realized how bad it was until it was gone. Last time I got to feel that was maybe half a decade ago. Going no contact, bare minimum contact with one or both of your parents. I think that many people don't understand that it's never easy, and it's not something that you decide after one disagreement. The pain and guilt of going no contact is very hard to endure, especially at the beginning. Even if your parent did some awful things to you, you still have that little bit of hope that they'll change someday, and that everything will be better. Going almost no contact or no contact at all is the absolute last resort, and saying that you shouldn't do it, they're your parents after all, is even more painful. I know that they are, but they've failed me my whole life. I've talked to them, I've tried to show them how much the things they did have hurt me, but it never worked. I still hope that one of them is going to change and I will have the child-parent relationship I've always wanted, but it's very unlikely. And it just hurts that it is like that, and I can't even feel comfortable around my parent, and talk to them only when it's necessary. Edit, to everyone who relates to this, I'm really sorry you had to make such a decision, but you're not alone. Remember that all the things that have happened to you weren't your fault. You're strong, and I hope that you'll find a peace of mind. Heart, hands, medium light skin tone. My therapist tells me, I get that you want a mom. And you deserve a mom. But you don't have a mom whether or not you maintain contact with her. And that helped realize no contact was easier than continuing to hold out hope.